So we were in Kansas because, even though that was way out of the way, we wanted to hit the center of the country. Preferably around the 4th of July for maximum earnestness / unacknowledged irony factor. The timing worked out so it was July 3rd and we were approaching Gypsum, our small town America of choice. One bar, one diner, 17 churches or whatever. And we were going west to east, so wind at our backs. The wind comes out of the south in the summer, but more like southwest. So in a way, going west to east was a pussy move on our parts, but we kind of wanted to do the opposite of the historical. Like, American is east to west, so we were going the opposite way. Also, we lived out west, so it was more honest to start there. Western Kansas is like ass flat. The cliche, so you're basically just riding the wind, and if you pedal even a little bit in a low gear, you hit 15 miles per hour, no problem. 15 miles per hour is a slow speed in a car, but on a bike, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. So it's morning, and the sun's pretty low. Between the low sun, the flat ride, good wind, it's the perfect time to take shadow pictures. That's when you take a picture of your own shadow while you're riding. Totally a staple of the cross-country bike trip. Gotta have the shadow picture. And with our huge packs and panniers, we were gonna have especially dope shadow pictures. Mika thinks he's a really good photographer. He thinks he has talent, so he's doing a lot of bullshit with his shutter speed and framing and what have you. And we're both taking our shadow pictures and we hear this truck coming. Or I hear it. I assume Mika does. I think he does because we both hug the shoulder a little bit. Still taking our shadow shots. And the truck gets louder and closer and passes us. And I see it's a Tyson truck full of fucking crates of screaming chickens packed together. And there are feathers flying out of the truck bed like some kind of... I don't know what kind of metaphor. And I scream up to Mika, who, did I mention, was in front of me? Look at that fucking slave poultry. And he looks back at me. He has his left hand on his handlebar and his right hand still on his bullshit professional camera. And he looks back at me. And he's smiling and he starts to say something, but then the truck bed separates from the cab and flies backwards and takes him off the road. Before the ambulance came, this PR lady from Tyson came. I didn't realize I was still holding my camera. She was like, "I'm sorry, sir, but I have to confiscate your camera." She has to yell it for me to hear her over all these maimed and freaked out birds. I was like, "My best friend is under 3,000 chickens." And she was like, "I understand you're upset, but this will be easier for both of us if you give me your camera now." I was like, "I couldn't get to him. He's buried under there. Where's the fucking ambulance?" And she was like, "I'm gonna ask you one more time." And I threw my camera on the ground. So what I don't have is these pictures from Wyoming. We took these corny ass timer shots at the top of the Continental Divide, in front of the sign that says the altitude and all that shit. There was still snow up there in June. He caught this fish in Yellowstone. He reached in with his bare hands and stood really still, and I had a picture of him holding up this fish longer than his head and neck. Oh, and we both dipped our back tires in the Pacific. That's another corny thing you do, because then you're supposed to dip your front tires in the Atlantic when you get there, which I have not done yet, incidentally. Don't know why. And I got a little video of him dipping his back tire and pretending to fall off this rock into the sea, because he was a fucking clown. You know, he was a gifted physical comedian. He could have done that shit for real. And then there are all these pictures of him I don't remember taking. And maybe losing those is worse than losing the ones I do. It took them about 45 minutes to get him out of there. And the funny thing is, he hadn't sustained any trauma to his head or anything, but he'd been face down in the mud with hundreds of pounds of weight on him, and he'd suffocated. So the part that everyone's pissed at me about is that after I finished the paperwork at the police station and called his mom and my mom, I got back on my bike and kept riding.